The voice of a shepherd is perhaps the most powerful sound a sheep will ever hear. It commands respects, it signals the threat of danger, it indicates the path to food and water, all with the familiarity that engenders trust and respect. And for us human beings, one of the most powerful sounds we will ever hear is not a tornado siren or the cheering of a crowd or even a gunshot, but the voice of our mother, especially when she's calling us by our full name and we're doing something that we know we shouldn't be doing. I never did that, but I suspect I know my brother did. But that voice can cut through us like a knife. It can strike fear in us like no horror movie could. And in the next minute, it can console us with the tenderness of an angel. The Good Shepherd and the Good Mother share a similar tone. While one guides sheep and the other sometimes seemingly herds cats, the goal of both is the same: unity. It is to gather into one those who belong to them. And while it might seem like some days it's a victory for a mother just to get her children fed and to mediate the hostage negotiation that is bedtime, a mother's work goes far beyond keeping her little lambs alive. It's about setting them out on a path that leads to heaven. It's the work really of both parents to guide their children not along the path of worldly success, but to help them share in the victory of eternal life. And this is the difference between a normal shepherd and a parent. It's not just about keeping the group together as a shepherd does his flock. The work of a parent is to maintain unity in the heart of a child so that they desire eternal life above all things. This is the goal of the parent, to help the child to remain focused on one thing, to desire eternity more than anything else, more than any earthly accomplishment, more than any fame or power, that eternal life is the greatest thing for us, that it is the one thing that we all ought to be striving for. This is the goal of parenting, to remind your children that they are made for eternity. And I think, we're in a bit of a crisis in our culture because this unity of purpose, this clarity of what we are made for is getting lost. We are too caught up in trying to make sure our kids are successful in the eyes of the world, of guaranteeing that they get the right job and that no one stands in their way. Last year, I looked back on Father's Day, I used the image of Father Mike Schmitz, who talks about the Zamboni parent who clears the ice in front of their child so that there's no obstacle. Now, in the world of education, I hear the term lawnmower parent. It's the same sentiment. The lawnmower parents go to whatever lengths necessary to prevent their child from having to face adversity, struggle, or failure. Instead of preparing children for challenges, they mow down all the obstacles so that kids won't experience them in the first place. And I really think, for the most part, parents do this because they really believe it is an act of love for their child. And they say, look how much I love my child by clearing the way, by getting everything out of the way so that they can sail to success. But in keeping them safe, we are limiting their horizon. Because in raising children who have experienced few struggles, we're not making kids happier. We're not generating a generation that is more fulfilled. Instead, we're creating a generation that has no idea what to do when it faces struggle. Children who have no idea what to do, they're paralyzed when challenges come along. Better for us to put our children in front of situations that challenge them, that force them to decide, that make them face struggles so that they can grow. Because friends, we all know it. In the face of challenge, there are things in us that get brought to the surface that would otherwise lie dormant. And so thank God for the gift of challenges that cause us to really grow, to become the people that God is making us to be. It may be enough for sheep to follow the shepherd their whole life, but children have to live. Children have to explore, to struggle, and to grow from their experience. And this, I think, is the real frightening thing, that a parent can become a wolf for their children. They can prevent their child from going out into the pasture because they're afraid of what is out there. Look, I don't want to be hard on parents. I know it's a challenge. I mean, to raise children today, I don't envy anyone that. But we have to remember what we are about. We have to remember why the gift of children was given to us to begin with. And it is to lead them into eternity, to help them to grow in their relationship with God. This is the whole purpose of education. The very word education means to lead out, to help our young people to explore a new horizon. And so we have to help them, reminding them always of their purpose, but helping them to grow from their experience of life. And this is a work that we all share in. And it's one of the greatest works that we have as a church. This isn't just left to parents, whether we have children or not. All of us, by the way that we live, by the way that we face the challenges of life, by the way that we speak about the purpose of faith and its relevance to our lives, all of us are educating our children and educating one another by the way that we live, by the way that we respond to the struggles that we face. In the end, we are not the ones who give eternal life to our children. It is a gift that only God can give. But it is our task, our primary task, our joyful responsibility, not a heavy burden, not a drag on our life, but it is a joyful responsibility to help our children remember that they are made for eternity. They can face anything in this world, but they have to remember that they are made for eternity. If your child showers once every 2 weeks, but they remember that they are made for eternity, better. If all their teeth fall out, but they remember that they're made for eternity, better. If no one likes them because they stink, it doesn't matter. If they remember that they are made for eternity, then you have done your job. It's amazing. It's amazing how we allow all these other things to get in the way. Friends, this is a big pasture that we have in front of us, and there are a lot of things that can distract us. One thing, eternity. All of us are made for eternity. And so let's beg the Lord to help us to grow in our own relationship with Christ, so that we can remind our young people and remind one another that the one goal in this world is to inherit eternal life.